Today I'm going to show you how you can crochet this top for summer. I finished my last exam yesterday, so I went straight to Søstrene Grene to buy some new yarn, and I got this light green yarn. And really you only need like 4 or 5 skeins of yarn to make this. I was not sure how much I was going to need, so I got 5. Then I'm using a 2.5mm hook. Then you're also going to need a darning needle, a pair of scissors, and then for the bows you can use a French knitting doll if you want to. I use this one to make my I-cord bows, but you can also knit these with regular knitting needles, or you can just do chain stitches with your crochet hook to make the bows. And if you don't know how to use the French knitting doll, I'll show you later on in the video. So to get started, you're going to do a chain of a multiply of 25. Okay, so you might be thinking, what the hell do you mean by doing a multiply of 25 stitches, and how many stitches do I need to make? So let me just quickly explain how the top is constructed. So basically it only consists of the back piece and the 2 front pieces and the bows. I'm usually a size 36 or a size small, and for the top I've made for myself, I've done 4 flowers in the width, and each flower consists of 25 stitches. So this means that I started with 100 stitches. And then you can always just add a flower in the width, or take one away, or make it shorter, or however you want the top to fit you. I've drawn this pattern so that you can kind of follow along where we are in the pattern, and for me it really helps to kind of visualize how I'm going to make the flower and be able to go in and check if I'm doing it right. So if we start by doing the back side, if you want your back piece to be 4 flowers, you're going to do 25 times 4, so it's going to be 100 chain stitches in total. And then at the end you need to add 2 to make the first double crochet, but we'll get there. So I just did some stitches and went back and counted them because I didn't count while I was doing them, and it turns out there was exactly 100 stitches here. So I went back and counted them once more because I don't trust my brain. And then when I counted it for the 3rd time, I was sure that there was actually 100 stitches. So now once we've got the 100 chain stitches, you're actually going to do 2 more chain stitches. So now we're going to insert the hook in the 3rd loop from the hook. And what I like to do is to turn it the other way around, so that I'm actually going in to the bumps here on the back. So I'm going to do double crochet into this bump here. And it can help to use your nail to just kind of open it up. Inserting my hook and then doing a double crochet. And then I'm going to go to the next one, which is this one here. They can be a bit tricky to get into. So if you don't want to do them this way, you can just do it the regular way. I just think this creates like a prettier finish, because once you turn the edge, it will have the little V's here. And now you just need to do double crochets in all the chains all the way down. So what we've done now is the chain stitches, and then the first row that consisted of only double crochets. And now we're moving on to the 2nd row that consists of 7 double crochets and then 2 chain stitches, and then 4 double crochets, and then another 2 chain stitches, and then 10 double crochets. So what we're going to do is doing 2 chain stitches to get the height right for the first double crochet, and then we're going to turn the work around and then work our double crochets into the V's on top of the work. So we're going to do 7 double crochets, and then we're doing 2 chain stitches, and then we're skipping 2 stitches here and doing a chain stitch into the 3rd one. Which is what gives us these holes in the pattern. And then we're doing 3 more double crochets so that we have 4. in total. And then we're doing another 2 chain stitches, and then skipping 2 stitches, going into the third, and then essentially we're going to do 9 more double crochets so that we have 10 on the other side of the hole, and then you just repeat this pattern. So now we've done the second row. We were doing 7 double crochets and then 2 chain stitches, and then 4 double crochets and another 2 chain stitches, and then essentially we did 10 double crochets and then plus the first 7 again, so it's 17 double crochets and then the 2 chain stitches, 4 double crochets, and so on. So now what we're going to do is continue with the third row, and here we're going to do 7 double crochets again and then 2 chain stitches, and then 4 double crochets and 2 chain stitches, and then 4 double crochets and 2 chain stitches, and then another 4 double crochets. So we're going to do 3 holes now, so it's kind of like a zigzag pattern. So once again we're going to do 2 chain stitches to get the height of the first double crochets, and then we're going to turn the work around, and then we're going to do 7 double crochets again. And then 2 chain stitches, and then a double crochet in the stitch right before the hole, and then here we're going to work our double crochets into the hole, so you can just go straight into the hole and do the double crochets. And then the last one we're going to do right at the edge of the hole again. So that we have 4 double crochets and then another hole, 2 chain stitches. And then we're going to work it into the one right before the hole in the row below. And now doing 2 double crochets into the hole. And then 1 right at the edge of the hole. So now we have 2 holes, and we're going to do the last one, doing 2 chain stitches, and then skipping the 2 and going into the third. Then doing 3 more double crochets. And this is essentially what you have to do for row 3, and you're just going to repeat that all the way along. So now we've done the third row, and we're moving on to the fourth row, where we're beginning with 2 chain stitches and then another 2 chain stitches. So essentially 4 chain stitches, and then going into the 4th stitch from the beginning, we're doing 4 chain stitches like this. Then we're turning our work, and then we're going into the 4th stitch, which is this one right at the edge. So we're going in with a double crochet, and this creates a hole at the very edge. And then we're going to do 2 stitches into the hole below, and then another one right at the edge of the hole below. And now we're beginning the first part of the flower. So we're going to do 4 chain stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're going to do what's called a treble crochet. So this one here is the treble crochet, and It's essentially like a double crochet, but you just wrap the yarn twice around the needle, and then you're going into this hole in the middle, and then you're doing 2 loops at a time like this. So this creates a really tall stitch. Then you're going to do another 4 chain stitches, and then going in with a double crochet right at the very edge of the next hole. Like this. And then we're going to work 2 double crochets into this hole. And then another one right at the edge here. Then we need another hole at the other side of the beginning of the flower to make it symmetrical. So we're going to do 2 chain stitches, and then skip 2, go into the 3rd, and then do 3 more double crochets. And here, to make it fit, we're going to do another double crochet. So now we've done the 4th row, and here, like I said before, it's just important to remember that you need to add an extra double crochet here before you begin the repetition of the pattern. So now we're going to begin the 5th row. We're going to start by doing 2 chain stitches and then another 2 chain stitches. So essentially 4 chain stitches, and then going down with a double crochet. Then we're going to turn the work. We're going to do a double crochet down into this stitch right at the edge of the hole below. And then we're doing 2 double crochets into the hole. And then a double crochet right on the edge. Now we need to do 5 chain stitches. And then we're going to do a single crochet stitch by inserting our hook right near the triple crochet on the right hand side, pulling the yarn through so that we have 2 loops on our hook, and then we're just pulling it straight through and tightening it. And now we need to find the hole that sits right above the triple crochet. We're going to do a single crochet into that one. Like this. And then we're going to do another single crochet on the left hand side of the triple crochet. So we're going to insert our hook into the hole, pull the yarn through, and then do a single crochet. Like this. So now we have 3 single crochets, 1 on the left hand side and 1 into the triple crochet and 1 on the right hand side. And then we're going to do another 5 chain stitches. And then we're going to do a double crochet into this stitch right before the next hole. Then we're doing 2 stitches into the hole. And 1 right at the edge of the hole. Now we're here right before the repetition of the pattern where we did 5 double crochets instead of 4. So now we need to do 3 chain stitches instead of 2. And then going into the stitch right here on the edge of the next hole. So it'll be a slightly wider hole than the other ones, but it will create a more symmetric look. Now we're done with row number 5 and we're going on to row number 6. And we're beginning with doing the 2 chain stitches and then on top of that 6 chain stitches. So 8 chain stitches in total. Now we've done 8 chain stitches and we're going to flip the work around, and then we're going to do another single crochet into this gap over here at the right hand side. We're going to insert our needle and then pull up the yarn and then pull through both the loops on the hook and tighten it a bit. And now we have 3 stitches in the middle, and we're going to work 1 single crochet into each one of these. And then we're going to do a single crochet in the left gap as well. So that we have 5 stitches in total now. Then we're going to do another 6 chain stitches. And then we're going to do a double crochet into this stitch right here at the edge. And then we're going to work 3 double crochets into this wide gap that is between the 2 repetitions of the pattern. Like this. And now the pattern repeats itself. So now that we're done doing row number 6, we're actually halfway through the flower. So now we're going to do the same thing that we've already done, just reversed. So we're now at row 7, and we're going to start by doing 4 chain stitches and then 4 double crochets into the gap below. Then we're turning our work and doing a double crochet into the stitch right before the beginning of the big petal. And then we're doing 3 double crochets into the petal. Like this, so that we have 4 double crochets. And then we're going to do 5 chain stitches. And then now that we have 5 stitches here, we need to do single crochets only into the 3 middle stitches. So we're going to do a single crochet here. And another one here. And the last one here. So now we've done 3 single crochets into the middle of the flower, and we're going to do another 5 chain stitches. And then we're going to do 3 double crochets into this part of the petal below, and then the last one into the stitch right here at the edge. Like this. And now we are at the part between the 2 repetitions of the flower, and we're going to do 3 chain stitches here to create the gap that's slightly wider than the other gaps. Now we've done row 7 and we're moving on to row 8, and we're beginning by doing 4 chain stitches. And then we're turning our work. And then we're doing a double crochet into this stitch here right by the edge. And then another 3 double crochets into this petal. Like this. Now we're going to do 4 chain stitches, and then we're going to do a treble crochet into the very middle of the 3 single crochets. So we're going to wrap the yarn around twice and then go into the middle, pull the yarn through, and then go through 2 loops at a time. Like this. And then we're going to do another 4 chain stitches, and then do 3 double crochets into the petal and 1 into the very edge of the petal. Like this. So now we have the flower done. We're going to do another hole on the other side like we have over here at the right hand side by doing 2 chain stitches and then a double crochet into the edge. And now here we're at the wide hole that's in between the 2 flowers. We're going to do 3 double crochets into the hole and 1 at the edge of the hole. Like so. And then you're just going to repeat the same thing for the rest of the flowers. Now we're done with row number 8, and now we're going to do row number 9 where we're doing 3 holes. So kind of like in the beginning down here, we're beginning by doing 2 chain stitches, and then we're turning the work, and then we're going to do 7 double crochets like this, and then we're doing 2 chain stitches to create a hole, then we're doing 3 more double crochets so that we have 4 double crochets, and then we're doing another hole and doing 4 double crochets, you can just kind of move these around to make them spaced out more evenly, and then we're doing another hole and 4 double crochets. And then we're going to repeat this. So now we've done row number 9, and now for the next row you're just going to repeat row number 2. So this one that has 2 holes, and then the 2 holes just need to be in between the 3 holes, so it makes kind of like a stair of holes. And then after row 2 you're just going to repeat row 3 and 4 and so on, and then you're just going to repeat the pattern for as many flowers as you want the top to be in the height. Once you're done with the back side, you're just going to do the same thing with the front, except that you're only going to do 2 flowers at a time so that they will be 2 separate pieces. So it's now a few days later, and I've now done the back piece and the 2 front panels. And what I'm doing now is that I'm adding a border of double crochets all the way around the pieces, because I think this gives it a more finished look and it will make it much more easy to sew together. And then also I can make sure that the front pieces fit me better by doing a bit of a higher border on the shoulder part than the middle, so that it goes down a bit for my neck. And I've actually done 2 rows on the left hand side that I'm missing on the right, because when we put it together to be the 2 front pieces, it makes space for your neck and it gives a little extra fabric to go over the shoulder. So to do the edge, I'm just following the pattern and then just turning my work around when I'm a bit over midway through the row. You just want to make sure that you're doing the same amount of stitches on each of the front panels so that it will become symmetrical. So I've chosen to do my stitches until I reach this hole in the row below. So now I'm going to turn my work around by doing 2 chain stitches and then turning it around, and then just doing the rest of the row with just double crochets. So now I've done the 2 rows at the top, and I'm going to show you how you turn the work to work on the sides. So what I think works best for me is to just start working double crochets directly into the side here. So you're going to do a double crochet into the first loop that you can get into here. And then going into the next loop. And here there's not really like any right or wrong loops that you can go into. I just try to make it look good so there's no holes in the edge. And then once you start going down the side, it should make it look as if it's actually a corner going like 90 degrees. I'll show you in a bit. So sometimes I try to go into these little bumps on the back, this one here, but they can be a bit tricky to get into. So now I can just show you what it looks like with the corner. So it makes it look kind of like a 90-degree corner. And then once we sew it together, it'll look really good. Now you just have to continue doing the edges all along all the pieces. And remember to add an extra row over the shoulder and leave a little space for the neck. I'm just going to show you how you finish the last corner when you're almost done at the end. So what I've done is doing 2 double crochets into the very last stitch here, and another one into the same one, and then just doing a slip stitch into the other corner. Like so. And then when I was almost done doing the edge all the way around, I noticed I'd made a mistake. It's right here. I did a hole that was not supposed to be there. But I think I found a clever way to kind of cover it up, just doing some random stitches inside it and sewing it together on the back side. So I just wanted to show you how I do the edge on the top part of the back side. So I'm leaving it with 3 holes and then 2 holes, and then doing 1 full row of just double crochets. It's similar to the bottom where we have 1 row of double crochets and then 2 holes and 3 holes. Then it's just reversed at the top. So now that I've done all the edges of the pieces, I'm going to show you how I make the bows. I've already done one of them, and the ones I've made on my French knitting doll, and these ones are about 40 centimeters long. And I want to show you how to use the French knitting doll. I have my knitting doll, and then I have a wooden stick that's sharp on one end to lift the yarn over, and then I'm going to show you how you thread the knitting doll. So basically you need to have this piece of yarn down through the middle, and this can be a bit tricky, so I'm using my crochet hook, and then I'm using the hook to kind of pull the yarn through. And then you need to hold on tight to the end of the yarn so it's not slipping through. And then what you want to do is to wrap the yarn around each one of these and then go anti-clockwise through all the pins. And then once you get to the first one you started with, you're going to wrap the yarn to the left so that you have 2 strands of yarn on the first one. And then you're going to use your stick to lift the yarn over the first pin. And it's important to remember to hold on to the yarn from the bottom so that you don't pull the yarn all the way through. And then you just turn to the left and do the next one. And then you just keep pulling a bit on the thread at the bottom to keep it tight. And then you continue for as long as you want the bows to be. So I now have the length that I want the bow to be, and I'm going to show you how you cast off. So you're going to take the loop that you're currently at, the one that the working yarn is attached to, and you're going to lift that one up, go in from the top and lift it off, and then put it over the one to the right of the stitch, and then just pull on the bottom to make sure it's secured. Then you have 2 loops on this pin, and you're going to lift the bottom one over the top one, like so. And then you're going to bring this one
over the next one to the right, and then lift the bottom one over the top stitch. Be careful not to drop the stitches. And then lift it over the last one, like so. And then you can actually just insert your stick into the last stitch and then pull the yarn all the way through. And now you're left with this one loop, and you're going to bring the yarn in through the loop, like so. You can also use a crochet hook for it, it might be easier. Then you're going to cut the yarn and pull the yarn all the way through the loop, and then just tighten it and it will come together like this. Now you're going to weave in the ends, and the way I do that is just by inserting the needle into the middle and then making sure it doesn't poke out anywhere, and then just moving it down as much as you can without it poking out. And then once you're quite far down, you can have it poke out and pull the needle through, and just pull it tight. And then you're going to pull the yarn slightly and cut off the end, and then stretch it out again. So now all my bows are done. I did 4 bows, but you can just do 2 or 3 or more bows if you want to. It's very customizable. And the only thing left to do now is to sew the pieces together, the back side and the front pieces. So to sew the piece together, you need to thread the needle with the same yarn. And then what I like to do is to sew with the 2 right sides together, like this. So these are the right sides, and I put these together, and then I want to align the corners here at the top, and then I go into the outer loops only. So if you have the V's, I only go into the outer ones, and I try not to get the needle tangled into other threads. This might be a bit easier if you have a needle that's not pointy like mine. If you look at the V's, I'm only taking the outer loops. And I'll show you in a minute how this looks on the 2 sides, because it does look a bit different on the 2 sides. So you can choose to either put the wrong sides together or the right sides together, depending on what look you like best. If you look at this side, it's very seamless, and if you turn it around, you have like kind of a gap in the middle where the seam is, and I think this looks really cool. So I chose to have this one on the right side, so this is the seam that's going to be visible on mine. So if you like the seamless look better, you can just do it the opposite way around, and then you would just hold the 2 wrong sides together and sew it. So I'm going to finish sewing the top parts where I join the parts that go over the shoulder. I'm obviously only going to stitch the part where I did the border at the top. I'm not going to stitch anything here. This is just going to be open. And then once I've attached the 2 shoulder pieces, I'm going to show you how you can figure out how much of the sides you need to sew. Alright, so now I've sewn the top parts together by the shoulders, and I need to figure out how much I need to sew for the sides. So what I'm doing is I'm just putting in stitch markers until I feel like I have a comfortable gap for my arm. And here it's really good to just try it out a little bit and walk around with it and see how it feels. Then I just sew the sides together the same way I did the shoulders. And in my case, I'm sewing up to midway through the 4th flower from the bottom. So this was all for this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments what you think, and subscribe for more tutorials like this.